Hey, Brandon.
Happy Thursday. How's it going
Happy
today?
Thursday. Good. There's no one today?
You're the first. We'll see if it shows up.
Cool, cool. Do we have any members in Seattle who joins here regularly?
Let's see. Couldn't say for sure.
Hmm,
I don't know where everybody lives.
okay.
Tina, you're at least on the West Coast, aren't you?
That is correct.
Sean was just asking if we had anybody in the Seattle area.
I mean,
Or
I'm I'm in the West Coast. I'm not like anywhere near the coast. I'm in Las Vegas.
Vegas,
He's in the
baby.
he's in the deserts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I fear I'm always mispronouncing your name. Is it Sean? Shaon?
Yes, yeah, you're doing it right.
I'm used to Sean being spelled differently, and so I'm just paranoid I'm
Yeah.
saying it completely wrong.
This is how they decided to pronounce in Bangladesh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grew up with people spelling it Sean and Shawn. So you gave me a new spelling there. Other countries do it differently. And I'm putting people in the wrong section, aren't I? Putting them in the notes. You're not notes. You're attendees. I mean, we got like a whole variety there. Get this screen share going. At least Knockwood Zoom's been playing okay with me today. Is Utah to Vegas kind of like West Virginia is to Virginia?
I'm not from Virginia or familiar with Virginia, so I can't say. So I'm not sure what that means.
Wait, say
I,
Maybe.
state the syllogism again there, Brandon.
I, since T and I was making a Utah comment there, I was asking if Utah to people in Vegas was like West Virginia to people in Virginia. People in Virginia will pick on people in West Virginia now and then.
Ah, I see.
Ah,
I I don't think that's it. I'm a former Utah transplant
Okay.
and still have a lot of family up there. And so I
I
will
mean,
poke fun at Utah any chance I get.
there are plenty
that's
of people in Virginia that
crazy.
have family in West Virginia that will still poke fun at them too.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's kick this thing off. We need a distribution spec maintainer on this one. We had Derek, but then we vetoed his thing. We updated for Tinon's request there, which was a good request. But yeah, he'll need to reapprove it unless we can get another maintainer over there, which,
Yeah, I
yeah,
felt
we'll
really
sort that out.
bad, but you were very kind about it.
I mean, it was a good call out.
In my defense, I wasn't a maintainer when the original discussion happened.
But now that we got you as a maintainer, we don't have to wait for both Derek and Mike to simultaneously do something. We can wait for either of them to do something because you're always going to jump in.
Yeah.
All right. This one came in from Akahiro this week. And it really raises a question for me, which is the config, which I'm just going to throw it up in preview. It's easy enough to view over there in preview. We've got a definition for layer chain ID, which is a very scientific and complex, you're layering, you're hashing on top of hashing to come up with some kind of chain ID. And we got a definition for image ID. And Akihiro is commenting that, hey, the image ID no longer really applies to all these upstream implementations because they're starting to move over to the manifest hash and other stuff. So, we might be confusing people there. And I looked at it and said, why don't we just get rid of both of these things? So I want to throw that out to the team. Does anybody find usefulness of either the image ID or the chain ID? And if you do, does it need to be defined by OCI or should it be defined by whoever is using it?
I have seen tools use the chain ID as a way to track the connection between layers. So to track a layer's chain ID specifically so that they can have an ID that is not just that layer in isolation, but is that layer as it relates to the stack of layers underneath it. My own read of this, based on historical context, is that the older version of the image spec before we created the OCI was not as content addressable. And I think that this was a way to achieve some amount of content addressability, or at least a stable, unique ID given a set of content. And I agree, it's not super relevant in 2026. As evidenced by the things that Akihiro pointed to that are moving away from it, that are famously the holdouts that were the reason it existed in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff, when we're looking at Docker, they used image ID for referencing stuff for a long while there. And I feel like referencing the manifest ID is a much better ID to use for referring to things. So it's a move in the right direction, but now we have these competing definitions.
So the spicy spec question here is, if we delete this, which version number changes and how big of a jump is it?
Well, the good news is we can delete it and figure out the version number later on.
Yeah, it's true. I
But
agree.
before,
I think it serves no purpose. I think we should delete.
okay.
I think Brian is on the call now, and Brian tends to have some historical context too,
You
and
do.
often remembers more than I do. Brian, I'm going to put you on the spot and ask if you see any reason why we shouldn't delete chain ID and image ID from the image spec entirely.
I don't, but I never had the context for this. I never understood the point.
Ah, perfect.
Oh, good. The people that have the context are like, I have no idea why we have this here.
I mean, maybe Tonus or somebody.
Yeah. I hear what Sajay is saying. Sajay is commenting that we have image ID referenced in a lot of places. The fear is just the way that Akihiro is commenting. Sorry, I was tabbing the wrong window there. That the image ID that the spec references no longer aligns with the image ID the implementations are using.
Yeah, so maybe an implementer's note in the config section. I think we already added something like that, right? I'm pretty sure I made that PR actually. Something that mentions in the config spec. Maybe I'm misremembering. Somewhere we added a cross note.
No, don't confuse diff IDs with layer digest. Optional fields.
Oh, inside of manifest.md, we have if this image manifest will be, quote, runnable by a runtime of some kind, it is strongly recommended to ensure it includes enough data to be unique, such as the rootfs and diff IDs included in our media type, so that it has a unique image ID as a link. The very last paragraph of that bullet point. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. There you go. Right there. No, stop. It's at the top of your screen.
I had stopped and then you told me to keep going.
Sorry, I meant keep reading.
Lag, lag, lag.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
link to image ID there.
Yeah.
But a note along those same lines is what I was thinking maybe of like, hey,
We were solving the problem where some runtimes required that this config ID was unique and referencing, and so who knows how long that's going to still be a case and a problem. Now we got artifacts that are doing other weird stuff.
yeah,
But yeah. And it's used by scanners. Yeah. So dropping it down to just kind of like an implementer note. The spec has formally defined image ID to be the configuration SHA-256. I'm even bothered that we specify that it's got to be the SHA-256 because I'm betting if we pushed an image manifest that had the SHA-512 as the config, that a lot of tools would take the SHA-512 and not the 256. But I wouldn't be surprised if only a lot of the tools, not all the tools.
I think it's so just to kind of align this with how we talk about the Docker manifest and media types, right? It is historically there, but it's something that we don't recommend or something that we don't want to kind of propagate anymore is probably the place that I was hoping we'd land. So that if people do search for it, yes, it's there and it's old. Just don't try to use it going forward might be an easy way. Well, and totally delete it because then there's no reference of what this thing is because there's a lot of images still out there that's been built the old way with the biggest problem was the tooling was not producing the manifest digest, right? So with that changing, it's kind of like much better.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of stuff out there that people are still running that's not having that degree of guarantees yet. So um, I would say worth deleting, but if you can keep it somewhere that says, hey, this is what it was, similar to what we do with the Docker media types, that might be a nice place also.
So relegate to a historical implementer's note, which I'm good with. Anyone else feeling nostalgia for the image ID? All right. I'll take that as an action item maybe at some point this week, see if we can get that cleaned up a little bit. Kasaki here makes a good point. This one came in, which is, hey, how big should these things be? I find it interesting if he referenced something over there that was pointed to an unsigned integer. But apparently there's some concern that because of the way JSON encodes it, that it might not be precise when you get to large numbers. Yeah, I actually feel like you're trying to reopen the unsigned int discussion again, which I'm paranoid of opening because I see that he's linked over to discussions that have been like, we've had this discussion before. We're not doing it again. Boy, silence from the crowd on this one, huh? The change they're pushing for, is it making it bigger? I'd have to count that to see if they're increasing the size or decreasing the size. They might be decreasing it.
If you switch your diff view to be unified instead of split, it's much more obvious.
Oh, where's that magic button?
The gear up by submit review. And you can see that they've
Okay.
lopped off several digits.
Okay. So that might be an improvement for compatibility's sake. It's also curious that we changed it to be assigned, or I mean unsigned at that point. Which I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be unsigned, isn't it? Yeah, it's not signed. I mean, it's not unsigned, it's signed.
But
And
it also says the size must not be negative.
yeah. Okay, so we fixed that part of it, but the actual value is still regular in. Oh, good times.
And the Go code uses an int64.
Yeah, that was what I was familiar with. I knew that all the other places were in 64.
Yeah. Which is probably more of a backwards compatibility problem than it is a correctness.
I feel like these references here are intentionally the Go values. And so I hesitate to change it to integer because in Go, ints without defining get to be implementation specific. In fact, we should even probably define that to be more specific.
Yeah.
So thinking required on this one, I'm guessing.
Sorry, but what is the pain this is causing right now? I'm trying to figure out. I'm being stupid, maybe.
It sounds like there was a lot of writing here to read in here, but when you encode large numbers in JSON, this JSON spec is that it's a float, and so you lose precision at very large numbers. Whereas if it was encoded as a strict int, that would it would be more precise at those large numbers until you hit the threshold. But an imprecise value for a size is going to give you size mismatches and things will start to break when you get to that large number. So how big are these things? Going to make me stare really close to the small screen over here. Bytes, kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes. So I think we're looking at, is that 900 terabytes maybe? If my highlighting is correct there. Hopefully we don't have a 900 terabyte file. We're probably looking at a lot less than that. Which is hopefully why nobody's run into this issue. This might be much more of a theoretical problem. Whose registry wants to have a 900 terabyte file in it? Not mine. Does it look like an AI generated PR? That's always the challenge these days. So sometimes they very quite possibly could be. Which I'll go ahead and jump over to the next one. which was that we failed the this one was failing because of the linter. And the linter was failing because Go changed versions, I think. Let's see. I didn't even look at there. Well, this saying a bunch of stuff is undefined, so who knows? Maybe there actually is some stuff, but they were saying that the problem is because the linter needs to be upgraded for newer versions of the linter and Go. So they are proposing a change, which I don't like, which, yeah, they fixed an issue over there, but they started yanking out a bunch of code. And importantly, they yanked out all the support for older versions of Go, which I don't use an old version, but the fact that we have it in there, I feel bad yanking it out. And then they did the thing that's going to make me start up another discussion here, which was they started doing a curl pipe to shell instead of a Go
Blocked
inst.
and reported.
Yeah, I think if we are not like having any issues, I don't see a point of making these changes. Yeah.
So I don't have a problem fixing and updating the linter, but the fact that they started yanking out old versions, I'm kind of worried about that. So my last topic was, should we update the repos to not automatically run CI for users, not just on the first contribution, but any external contribution until we approve it?
So it can be approved or like it can be a maintainer added tag.
So the way it goes is normally they'll come in and it'll say, hey, this stuff is waiting for a maintainer to approve it to run. And a lot of times that's only on the first contribution. But once they've got that first approval to run something, then all their future stuff just gets approved automatically. And so the setting has a switch in there where you can say not just the first one, but all of them, they have to get approval. And that's just protects you in case someone does a little sly, hey, here's my innocent PR, and then follows it up with here's the malicious PR that does stuff.
Protection from what?
So any
What
of
does
these things are,
RCI do that is worth protecting?
yeah, that's very fair question. If we
I don't
push
think it
any,
hurts us to have this CI run, right?
why aren't you opening?
So we do that for all external contributors to, I think for us, the reason is to save resources, cost. I don't know if that's a concern here.
No, because we don't have limited resources or cost here. I mean, we do have a limit, but it's not, doesn't really matter. Doesn't really affect us.
Yeah, I don't think we have any keys or anything in here that we're worried about.
Yeah, like it
It's
doesn't
running
have
with read
permission to
permission.
anything. We knock down the token explicitly. So worst case, they can DOS our CI and get themselves banned from GitHub.
Now, if we were pushing stuff up to the GitHub container registry, I would be more concerned about something like that, which now I need to look at distribution spec to see if we're doing that.
Yeah, I think the conformance repo might be one that is doing something weird with Netlify to do a like preview deploy.
That actually triggers from Netlify itself, and they run it automatically on everything without any checks.
Oh, okay.
Let's see, we do a checkout, run a bunch of tests, and then save the conformance results into an artifact there.
Which is
The
an
fact that,
artifact on that check.
yeah, we're not pushing anything up into any kind of repos or anything. So here's the kind of stuff I worry about. We got a Docker build push action there,
But that's
which we
only
are
on release.
that context.
That event only happens on pushes to main and pushes to tags
Okay.
because it
So
couldn't
yeah,
happen on any other push because it wouldn't have access to those secrets.
wouldn't or
A pull request can't access repo secrets.
it can't?
Nope.
Hmm.
Unless you do pull request target, which we don't use here.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to do that. All right. So that's a no-op on that discussion. Anything else? Or we want to keep going back to this Linter thing? It's fair to say the Linter might need some fixing with 127, and I can go through and look at that. I just don't want to get rid of support for older versions. And the other thing to look at is maybe there's a better way to run this instead of doing a go install. Well, this is in the make file, so probably not. All right, so we got that. More review of this one might be needed. Unless TNA is blocking them from all access to do anything. Any other topics? We're coming to the 30 minutes. I know there are folks that like to jump out at 30 minutes, so we can cut this early if we don't have anything else to chat about.
I don't have anything ready for today, but I do want to I'm going to be sending out a note to all of our specification projects about the upcoming EU CRA requirements and their unlikely applicability to specifications. So be on the lookout for that message from me. And we can talk about whether the project feels it might need to do anything for CRA readiness.
I'm hoping the answer is nothing.
I don't think it will be anything, but this will be something, I give you this information. My personal take is probably not, but certainly all of your organizations have probably already been tracking this and have already internalized maybe what those requirements will mean for your business. Here, I will specifically focus on what may be required for projects and what may be required even more specifically for specification projects, which is nothing.
Because going through my head is we're not a vendor for anybody. So
We're
no one is
we're
paying
not
us.
vendors, but it's not about vending. It's not about the thing being vended, even if it is available free of charge, as long as it is a product with a digital element, and that is actually defined more specifically as software. Um, there may be some requirements.
Oh, good times. Makes me worry that at some point I'm going to find myself not able to travel to the EU or worry about an extradition over there.
I think everybody's got some fears about international travel these days. Anyway,
They were my safe place. Not anymore.
I think the last thing I'll share on that is if you have questions about the requirements, we did have put together a really great training, understanding the EU Cyber Resiliency Act And I can drop a link to that. I think it's, um, it's not boring.
I've just been trying to keep my head in the sand on the whole CRA thing for all this time. Gonna fail.
Yeah, I encourage you not to put your heads in the sand on it. That's not the right take. But the right take is to assess, you know, relatively quickly, does does your project potentially have some requirements um, under the act for reporting vulnerabilities specifically.
Oh, goody. Just what open source maintainers like, more requirements.
Yeah, sorry.
You're spoiling my head in the sand fun. My ignorance was so blissful before now.
You can just call me a killjoy. It's fine.
Oh, we got other people for that. Speaking of which, Tianon. No, kidding. Um, anything else we want to chat about today?
Yeah, I'm just curious what Jody, what do we need to do, like specifically? Because I think the my concern would be the Go files, which is taken as a dependency in like so many places.
So, the project is stewarded by the Linux Foundation. We're the open source steward, and the obligation is on um, the us as the legal sort of parent to ensure that our projects are um, meeting those requirements, which of course we can't do without the collaboration and cooperation of the technical project. Our obligation is to it's it's, it's not delete the files, but I do appreciate that as a joke. Our obligation is to report if there is a vulnerability that becomes known to us to the CSERT in the EU within a certain period of time.
Hmm.
And the LF has a security team. What we need to be able to do is alert that security team that we have a vulnerability that's going to need to be reported. And so if we've got some code that we think might qualify as a PDE under the CRA, let's take a look at that and see if it actually does, because it's kind of a weird definition. Not all of our, like most of our spec projects are really not going to be applicable here. So I don't know what our Go files do. So
A runtime has its own set of problems, right? Which is different from this.
Saying run C.
Yeah, that's a bigger surface area, so I'm guessing they're already tracking this. Can we just have them pipe through the GitHub vulnerability exposure? We already have a pre-set up process, so why do we need to do two separate things to bring in other people? I mean, if they already notified, then there's less of this community to do anything. That's kind of what I'm hoping.
yeah, and there may be some uh, tooling that is already being leveraged by the foundation to do that. It might be worth chatting with the security team. I apologize, I can't deeply answer questions about how that team is going to report the vulnerabilities and that kind of stuff through the C to the CSERT. That's not my bailiwick, but I am really happy to surface these questions to the security team and then have them take a look and help us assess whether, in fact, your run C or any of the other components will meet the PDE definition. And then if so, whether and how existing tooling may just be leveraged to do the reporting. I like how everybody's noping out in chat. Cool.
No, I'm not going to be happy to offer, but if we have to do it, that's a separate thing, right? So
Yeah.
begrudgingly can get things done, but if I mean I understand it's like we just need to do this if necessary. Um, Brandon, I haven't kind of like mentioned it, but the reason why I leave for the 30-minute mark is exactly one of these kind of meetings for security. So it's if it's a killjoy, this is it. So
Hey, you've got an action item to give him now.
yeah, yeah. Is there any action on our side right now, Jory, at this point, or?
Not right now.
Okay.
I mean, we already have, like, I think our from the LF's perspective, there's a couple things. One is awareness, making sure everybody isn't putting their heads in the sand, Brandon Mitchell, about like the fact that, that there's this act and we do have to be aware of it. Our projects and you all are already very skilled at managing your own kind of security and vulnerability reporting process. It probably won't surprise you to learn that we have lots of projects that don't have a robust security and reporting process. And so some of this is just reminding those projects that you can't get away with not having one these days. And then, thirdly, to the extent that we believe that there are portions of our project that may be subject to the CRA that we've identified, the minor modifications that might be needed to meet the requirements for vulnerability reporting. So.
Complete killjoy.
I know. I don't know if the CNCF is separately going to, do a, because each umbrella foundation at the LF can optionally choose to sort of own the process. So it's also possible, and this is something I can check with Chris about, if the CNCF is planning to be its own steward, so to speak. If OCI should be part of that.
Oh yeah, security section in there. I'll have to go digging. Because at least know we have stuff in our repos saying how to file security reports on the projects. And so maybe an extra step has to get added over there.
Is this something that Acretes could or would do? Maybe it's too slow. Good question. So trying to remember. I think the point of Acretes is to expedite and fund and resolve vulnerabilities created by or exploited by or found by AI, not to solve the specific requirement, which is the the reporting. It's a mandated vulnerability reporting for products available in the European market. Sam, I don't know that question, but I will certainly endeavor to find out. Yes. Okay, well, so sorry to bum everybody out. Try to find something fun and joyous to bring to you next time. Hold on, understand where's this training? Here we go. Here's a link to the training in Zoom chat if you would like to take it.
Number of people that would like to take that, raise your hand.
Don't all jump at once. It's mandatory for all OLF employees, so
I was about to say, does this fall under the whole management training stuff that you had to do the other days? This was supposed to be the fun meeting.
Sam just brought in a great fun question. OCI meetings at KubeCon North America.
When and where is that?
Who's going?
I'll be
You
there.
get awesome.
Well, I think I'll be there. I don't have travel approval yet, but hopefully I'll be there.
Let me get the exact dates. Oh, that's China. That's not what we want.
It's in November in Salt Lake City.
Bringing it back to Utah. We were talking about Utah, Nevada. So Sam will be there. We usually get a room for a couple of hours and do a virtual kind of hybrid call. Happy to just get that going again. Anybody going to speak or participate in addition to Sam? Do we know, like, Phil will probably be there. He's often there.
Mike is usually there too.
Mike is there, yeah. So it's that week of the 9th. It's looking like, yeah,
9th through the
9th through
12th.
12th, yeah. Did we get any OCI talks on the agenda? Well, they kind of
Not from me.
the schedule's like kind of fancy. It's a little different. I like it. Okay, well, I will plan, Sam, to get a room as we do. And then if there's a day that we usually do like the second or third day. But if there's a preference for date, just let me know.
Thank you.
Cool. Anything else folks want to chat about today? Besides more trainings. All right. We ran over the 30-minute mark, so sorry, Sache, and other people that co-locate your meetings this one. We'll be back here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Cheers all.
Bye.
Bye.